Hi, my name is Kyle with Fall Line Outfitters, and today we're going to go over how to tie the wild turkey leech. It's a pattern designed by Tom Wendelberg down in the Madison area. So the materials and tools you're going to need to tie this wild turkey leech is going to be the MFC 2X long nymph streamer hook in size 6. You want the MFC 4.6 millimeter brass bead in gold, the hareline lead-free wire in 2.5, some Danville thread, Danville Flymaster 140, your choice of color. Today I'm using brown. And then you're going to need turkeys from the eastern turkey, the native turkey here to Wisconsin. These are body feathers, and then these are the marabou plumes. Both work just fine. So if you know a turkey hunter or you are a turkey hunter yourself, make sure you save all those feathers. And for tools, you're going to want a good pair of scissors. These are the Dr. Slick razor scissors. You sell them here in store. A good quality bobbin. You're going to need a dubbing loop spinner, a whip finish tool, and a dubbing brush. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to grab our hook and then get our bead, our MFC brass bead, and slide that through. You want on the bead there's 2 holes. The front hole is going to be smaller, and then the hole in back is going to be chamfered or recessed, whatever you want to call that. And then you want the small end first. So you put the hook point through the small end. That way the bead fits around the bend of the hook. And then we'll put that right up to the eye and lock that in our vise. And then for extra weight and to help with the taper of the body, we're going to use our hareline lead-free wire. And we're going to do 10-15 wraps. Less wraps, the fly is going to be a little bit lighter. More wraps, the heavier it'll be, the further down it'll sink. So kind of use your judgment on what you like best in the waters that you're fishing around here. So once we got that, I just slid it up into the bead head, and that's going to lock the bead in place. It's not going to move around on you while you're trying to tie. And then you're going to start with your Danville thread and your whip finish, and you're going to create a jam knot. So a jam knot, you're holding your thread kind of at an angle here, and you're going to come up and around and wrap back over that thread. And then we'll snip the tag end off. And then we'll go right back to the bend of the hook. And then I come back forward up to the lead wire. And what I'm going to do is build like a taper or a little ramp, a thread ramp leading up to this lead wire. So there's a nice smooth transition. So then I go back halfway down, come back up again. And then I go quarter of the way down and back up again. And then you want to make big open spiraling wraps over your lead wire to ensure those don't move on you. And then return back to the bend of the hook. And then the feather. So the useful parts on the body feather are down the sides. Up towards the top is going to make up your tail. Down here at the bottom is going to make up your body, and then in the middle here is going to be your collar. So we start by folding that back and snipping that tip out of there. And then you can fold those marabou barbs forward again, like that, and that becomes your tail. We'll set that down right on the hook bend. It should be a hook shank's length to one hook shank, or 1.5 hook shank length, no more or no less than that. So we'll drop that down on top of the hook, switch hands, grab our bobbin and do our pinch wrap. Get that wrapped down real good. And then I like to snip that off at an angle as well, just to kind of help keep a nice smooth taper to the body. And that's your tail. And then we'll grab our feather again. And what you're gonna do is grab all of these barbs down here, and we're gonna pull those off little by little and just dub that, do a dubbing noodle right onto our thread. So you just twist and turn until it looks something like that. And then we'll just keep going. If you don't have a rotary vise, you're gonna have to wrap manually. So maybe not dubbing quite so much onto your thread is gonna be better for you. And then you can just wrap around like so. If you have a rotary vise, then you can keep making that dubbing noodle longer and utilize that rotary function to wrap all that on for you. And it's not designed to be the prettiest of flies either. It's very buggy, very fluffy, lots of movement in the water, has lots of color variation within the feather itself. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a lot of light and dark grays there, which is one of the reasons why it works so well. So then I can utilize my rotary vise here. Get that wrapped all the way up. And you'll definitely want to vacuum after doing this fly. There's a lot of fluffy stuff floating around. So that's your body. And then I just kind of rub it with my fingers a little bit so it looks nice and buggy. And then for the collar, you're going to want to pull out quite a bit of thread and utilize a dubbing loop. So you'll hold it with your finger, hold your thread with your finger there, and then come back around the same direction you make your thread wraps normally. So up underneath, over the top, and then you toss your bobbin around the loop once, twice, and then make 2 wraps to lock that in place. Now you have your dubbing loop. Next you want to grab your dubbing spinner and hook that through that loop like that, and that's going to be your counterweight to hold all the materials together inside your dubbing loop. So we'll take the rest of our feather here. Get rid of this. Clean this up so it doesn't get in your way. And then you're going to slide that 1/2 of your feather left that you didn't use the material from for your body. And you're going to stick it in your dubbing loop just like that. So I separated the two pieces of the two strands of thread with my finger. I slid those marabou barbs in there, and then I'm going to come through with my scissors and I'm going to clip that off like so. And then you can kind of move them around however you need to. Get rid of these shorter ones here. Like so. And then you're going to put your finger here on the thread. Let that weight of your dubbing loop spinner rest. And you're going to grab the bottom and just give it a spin and let it twirl all that marabou up for you. And then use your dubbing brush. Stroke those fibers out. Like so. And that's your dubbing loop. And then you're going to come behind your thread and you're just going to continue wrapping that to fill in that space behind the bead. And stroke those feathers back as you go. That way you don't trap any of them. And then just like tying off any other material, you're going to wrap around your thread twice like that and give it a couple wraps and clip off your excess dubbing loop like so. And then all you got to do after that is whip finish. 3, 4, 5 turns. It's really all you need. Seat that tight and snip off your thread. I don't use any head cement, any water-based or UV cement on my thread to lock that in place because it's going to impede the movement of the marabou. The marabou will soak that up and it'll make it stiff and it's not going to flow like it should. And that's how I tie my variation of the wild turkey leech. And if you have any questions, again, please stop in to the shop. We'll be glad to help you out with materials and whatever else for fly tying needs. And we do sell these in shop as well if you're not a fly tyer. Thanks for watching.